Hello, this is Randy and Tasha Cross, and this is Marriage Loosen the Noose, where the focus is on helping people grow and develop healthy relationships. So remember to like
Share,
and subscribe.
and please don't forget to hit that notification bell.
So today our topic is 5 unfair fighting behaviors. But before we get into that, we want to go through our hypothetical question.
All right.
All right, so the hypothetical question is if you would say that your spouse or significant other was a superhero, who would it be and why? So I'm going to start.
All right.
And the superhero I would say my husband would be is Iron Man. And the reason why I would say my husband would be Iron Man is because Iron Man thinks he knows everything. And Iron Man always got something to say, perspective, opinion, input because he is smart and he just thinks he's always right. But he's not always right. We've seen the movies. He's wrong sometimes. And my husband definitely has that trait to a point where he will die on a sword trying to be right. And he'll even know he's wrong, but he will try to make it fit so that he still ends up being right. So that is the reason why I chose Iron Man for my husband.
Are you done?
Yes.
That's great. Actually, I like Iron Man. He has a ton of other abilities, not to mention a ton of cool suits. He's always saving the world and saving the girl, so you're welcome.
You didn't say
And if in the process I get a few things wrong, that's not a big deal. Keep it moving. Sweep that under the rug.
see?
So, yeah, that was great. Thank you.
No.
But
No, you're not
the,
welcome.
oh yes, I am. Anyways, the superhero that I would choose for my wife is not as well known as Iron Man, and nor as interesting. But in any case, it would be Black Canary. Drop the mic. Um, you're like, who is Black Canary? I know. She's like some detective that was uh showed up on like the Flash way back in the day. She didn't have any superpowers. She just wore tight clothes and was a detective. I don't know. Maybe she like fought bad guys looking sexy with a gun. I don't really know. But in any case, eventually they gave her the ability to have a sonic scream, which allow her to shatter and kill anyone that came in contact with that. And so that superpower really lines up with the superpower that I would have created for my wife if I had the opportunity to create one, which would have been a sonic burp. That's like that fits her so well. So only difference is the name. It will still accomplish the same thing. Her burps will, still shatter and kill everyone that it came in contact with. It'll just be a burp, and it will come out of her mouth. So that's a superhero, and that's why Black Canary. Look her up,
Sounds like you need to look her up.
and maybe we all do.
No, I don't.
You don't even know who she is.
And you don't either.
I do actually now. I know more than you. So
All right, y'all. So we're going to move on to the topic 5 unfair fighting behaviors. We're going to lay out some groundwork for you all. We're going to give you the 5, and then we're going to give you some tips to help you on this journey when it comes to fights in your relationship. All right?
so you want me to start?
Yes, please.
So in fighting, obviously there's a fair way to fight and unfair way to fight. Um, there are rules put in place that determines what's unfair and what's fair. So when you want to look at it, let's just take for example boxing or karate or MMA where there are rules of engagement. And obviously, if you break those rules, then there are penalties associated with that violation. So, say for instance, you headbutt or you hit below the belt, you can get a warning, you can get points deducted, and it can go as far as a disqualification, which obviously is not a good outcome. So when you relate that to relationships, obviously you can have the same type of penalties if you participate in unfair fighting. Meaning, you can be, it can lead to unhappiness, a loss of trust, a disconnect, and even divorce or separation, which is obviously not the outcome that you would like. So you want to really be careful with that. And yeah, so
Yep. All right, so now we're going to move into the 5 unfair fighting behaviors. So we're
okay.
going to start with number 1, and that is attacking. So we've got 2 categories under attacking. It can be personal and it can be physical. So from a personal standpoint, you can attack by name calling. Calling your significant other or spouse out of their name, or using some of their flaws and calling them by those flaws, is definitely unfair.
Right.
Also, when it comes to personal attacks, degrading your significant other or your spouse. You do not want to degrade them, make them feel bad about who they are, and pulling out all of these different things just to belittle them.
Right.
Not a good thing. The other thing is using confidential information when it comes to a fight. There are certain things that you're going to tell your significant other and your spouse that you wouldn't tell other people.
Right.
Don't take those secret things and then bring them up in a fight and then use them against that person. It's very hurtful and it's damaging, unfair. Don't do it. And from a physical standpoint, it can be threatening or it can actually be like putting your hands on your spouse or significant other. Right? Don't do that. You need to exit, okay? But do not do that. That's
Yeah.
very unfair when it comes to fighting. The second thing that you want to make sure that you stay away from is getting to a place where you don't care about your significant other or spouse's feelings. So we know our significant others and our spouses. We know what hurts them. And so if you get to a place in the fight where you are just maliciously and intentionally trying to hurt their feelings like you don't care
Right.
about it, that's definitely unfair and it's going to lead to hurt and pain. The third thing is don't interrupt or overtalk your significant other. Sometimes we do this when we're very angry and we're frustrated and we just don't want to listen anymore. So
Right.
then we just start talking over them, interrupting them constantly over and over again. It's not even a conversation anymore and it's unfair. The fourth thing is bringing up the past. Why are you bringing up the past? It's not relevant to this situation. It's going to derail the conversation. And most of the time, when you bring up the past, it's because you feel like you need to try to get a leg up because you feel like you're at a deficit. So you're really tit for tatting, not beneficial, and it's unfair. And then the fifth thing we would say that you want to stay away from is sharing the fight with others. I have seen people in the midst of fighting come out into the neighborhood yelling and screaming, business all in the streets, or on the phone talking to people while they're fighting with their significant other or their spouse, or putting all the information on social media. Don't do that. It's between you and your significant other. Why are you blasting it out everywhere? And you're gonna end up being back together anyway, and you done did all that damage, and now everybody knows your business. The negative side of it, it's not healthy. So those are the 5 unfair fighting behaviors that we would tell you all to stay away from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. So a few tips.
So you want to try and lay some ground rules. You want to try to establish um, what type of actions or behaviors are going to impact the situation negatively, and then stay away from that.
Right.
Or say when this happens, then we really need to maybe take a break or step away from the situation because it's only going to lead down a more negative path. So you definitely want to lay some ground rules and stick to them. Try to make sure that the rules are fair and that you both agree with them. So um, next, call out when you see the situation is getting out of control. So if you understand that you yourself have gotten too emotional or have lost focus of the conversation that's being had, then you might want to call that out and say, look, we need to take a time out. We need to step away from it. And the same for your significant other or the person that you're having the conversation with or issue with. If you see them getting revved up or, becoming too agitated or too frustrated, you definitely want to try and suggest that a timeout is needed or a break is needed so that you can calm down, gather your senses, not be so emotional, and then come back to try to resolve it. Um, the next thing is knowing.
Want to walk away.
So that kind of lines up with what we just was talking about. You just, if you know that it's gotten too crazy, if there can't be any sensible conversation had, then just walk away and then understand that it has to be had later. And then last, know when you're losing control. Um, just similar to what I just said. So, yeah, just if you know you're losing control, then again, you're just gonna have to step away and regather yourself and
come back at a later date. Have a conversation at a different time because it's just better overall for the relationship. So those are the 5 areas we would say stay away from at all costs.
Yes.
It's just it will lead down a very bad road over time. So stay away from those things. So keep it up, keep going, keep applying, and let us know how it's working out for you in your relationships. All right.
Good luck.
Peace.
Peace.